radio football show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Good evening, Darren a day with me, Paul Cooney and Mark Guidi. Well, 4 days to go, 2 games to go, 2 teams vying for the title, 1 point between them, and it kicks off tomorrow night. It never stops. Leaders Hearts against Falkirk and the chasers Celtic are at Motherwell. Rangers also playing Hibs. We're going to hear from Danny Rule, who says he's got the full backing of the Rangers board. But what about the fans? We're going to hear from Martin O'Neill ahead of his last 2 league games at Celtic for this term. He's got the cup final as well. And what's going to happen next year? Is there clarity at Celtic? And Derek McInnes saying he's in the position he wants to be going into the final 2 games, win them, and they will be champions for the first time in over 60 years. Nobody can remember an end to the season like this. Mark, you called it months ago that 82 points you said could win the league. And of course, you could well be right. What's your thinking tonight with just a few days to go?
Well, it's clearly a 2-horse race now, Paul. Hearts could be champions tomorrow night if they win and Celtic lose. If not, as long as Celtic don't lose, whatever happens, you go to a shootout on Saturday afternoon. So first of all, fantastic credit due to Derek McInnes and everyone at Hearts, and equally to Martin O'Neill and everyone at Celtic. They've kept going, they've gone the distance. We know it's going at least until tomorrow night, and I would imagine, but I'd be very surprised if it doesn't result in a shootout. And for the William Hill Premiership, for Scottish football, for everyone involved, what a spectacle that will be at 12:30 at Celtic Park on Saturday afternoon. A shootout for the title. But first things first, you need to get your work done tomorrow night.
So a win for Hearts and a draw for Celtic. Darren, we were talking about it just beforehand, and I said to you, is the goal difference not going to be too much then in that case when it goes to the last day? But if Celtic win on the last day against Hearts, you reckon it's only a 2-goal swing that they would need if Motherwell won by 1 goal?
If Celtic were to draw tomorrow, yeah, and Hearts, let's say Hearts won by a goal, it would obviously be a 4-goal difference, but they'd only need to win 2-0 because Celtic obviously have a better goals for column. That's right, Mark, isn't it? So, yeah, obviously, naturally, I want Celtic to go and do the business, but my God, that would be some game. Celtic had to go and not only win the game, but win it 2-0. I think could picture Celtic Park. It'll already be on fever pitch, but if that's the case, and they go 1-0 up, it's just all, whatever way it is, I do hope it comes down to the last game now. And it's just going to be an incredible ending to what's been an incredible season.
I know, it's not great for radio, Mark, just to do those what ifs. It's going to go all the way unless Motherwell beat Celtic tomorrow night, which they could well do.
Yep.
What about the Celtic support at the weekend? The atmosphere in the Rangers game, going a goal down and then winning 3-1. It's the kind of performance we haven't seen for a long time from Celtic.
Yeah, I was at the game on Sunday, and it was a brilliant atmosphere created by the Celtic supporters. It's only really been 2 or 3 occasions this season for obvious reasons that it's been that way. And Celtic played very, very well. You can see the difference in the Celtic team, Paul, with Alistair Johnston back in it. Andy Engels, I thought, was absolutely brilliant in the middle of the park, a real driving force going forward. Maeda's just, again, hit those levels that he was hitting last season, and Rangers had their chances. You know, Celtic have struggled to cope with Chermiti. He was very, very good again. Mikey Moore was very, very good again, but Celtic just gradually got a grip of the game, and, you know, you talk about a worldie. It's as good a goal as I've ever seen in a stadium live. Dyson Maeda's goal for Celtic, the third one, the overhead kick. So Celtic have put themselves right in it. They've given themselves an opportunity, and you wish both teams all the best, because for different reasons, both of them have been absolutely superb, both managers. And for Rangers, Paul, I think it's unacceptable what's happened to Rangers over the past 2 weeks. Totally unacceptable. And I think Danny Rule has to carry the can. And for me, he shouldn't be the Rangers manager next season.
You said that before the game at the weekend. You don't think he will be. Now, we heard about Wolfsburg the other day. We're now hearing that Leverkusen might be interested. The job could be available and he may be a candidate for it. You wonder if that's an elegant way for him to go. He's put a lot into it. He's given Rangers fans hope after that great run they were on. But yet again, as happened with Philippe Clement, when it got to the crucial time, they haven't won since the split. 3 games, 3 defeats. We're going to hear from Danny Rule shortly, because he is saying he's spoken to the bosses and he's got their total support. And many Rangers fans are supporting him. What do you think? 08, 08, 17, 17, 700. Martin O'Neill, the importance of the win at the weekend?
It gives us a big boost of confidence going into the game tomorrow evening. That's obviously the most important thing. Naturally, winning the game and in the manner in which we did is great, but that's gone, really has gone now. That's over and done with. And we face a major task here tomorrow evening. It's actually, if we win the 2 games, easier said than done. If we win the 2 games, we win it. And you would have got long odds about that a number of weeks ago, certainly a few months ago. So, from that viewpoint, it's just we have to try and win, and that will not be easy.
Darren, significant win, but also the result on Saturday night when Motherwell got the draw with Hearts was something that many fans didn't think would happen.
I don't know. I wasn't that surprised. Hearts haven't been particularly strong away from home in the last, I would say, half dozen games, certainly. So I wasn't that surprised the Hearts dropped points. I don't think it was a catastrophe. I thought they dealt with it well, the way they dealt in the post-match, Derek McInnes and some of the players. But I expect Celtic to go and win. I think they're just coming to the boil at the right time. Mark's touching it, the 2 players and Alistair Johnson, Engels coming back. I thought then it had a knock-on effect to how Callum McGregor played in the game. And then the main man has been Dyson Maeda, who seems to be just on a one-man mission. So I fully expect Celtic to go and beat Motherwell. I think it sounds strange, but the game against Motherwell looked a lot more trickier before the Rangers game. Now that you've beat Rangers, I can't see how this Celtic team don't go and get the job done now. And I totally agree with Martin O'Neill. If you had said that only a couple of weeks ago and certainly a couple of months ago, you would never have thought they'd be in such a strong position. But now they are good players, big players. Don't let these opportunities slip. And I fully expect Celtic to go on and get the job done.
Fir Park tonight, and we know, Mark, that was the scene of Helicopter Sunday, of course, where Martin O'Neill in charge, and then it was Rangers who won it right at the end. He spoke about Motherwell tomorrow night.
It was a difficult day, yeah, that's right. Well, probably exactly the same. But since that there, we've been able to win the game against them at our place. It's a difficult task. They're playing they play a really nice brand of football, and I think that they still want to try and qualify for Europe, I'm sure. But essentially, they're not playing under that sort of pressure. At Motherwell, you can actually, you can do this, and you can play. And you can lose some matches and still have a really good season. That doesn't happen at this club. Yeah.
Mark, obviously, initially he's talking there about the game right at the end of the year when the Wilfred Nancy Celtic were swept aside by Motherwell.
Yeah, absolutely battered.
What are you thinking about tomorrow night? So Darren thinks Celtic will go and will win. What do you feel?
You would have to fancy Celtic, not only because of the result on Sunday, Paul, but I thought the performance was very, very good. I thought it was Celtic, certainly domestically, they've had some good European performances under Martin O'Neill, but it's a different style. But domestically, that was their best performance of the season by a distance. I also think Kieran Tierney's been superb. I thought he was my Celtic player of the year a couple of weeks ago, and again his contribution on Sunday, his experience, his composure. Callum McGregor was back to his best as well. But it won't be easy, Paul. I don't think Celtic will lose a game, but it wouldn't overly surprise me if it was a draw. Because Motherwell are very, very good. There's no doubt about that. We all know that. But you just like Martin O'Neill said there, when there's a title on the line, there's 5 or 6 boys in that Celtic team that will really, really drive it. You look at Sunday. They came from a goal behind against. Rangers were playing well at that time, and really threatening a strong Rangers team, and they kept their composure, kept their discipline to go and won the game. So yeah, of course you would fancy Celtic, but it's by no means a gimme, Paul. Absolutely no means a gimme.
Rangers fans, you'll want to hear Danny Rule in a few moments speaking about his future. Let's go on the lines. There's lots of calls coming in. 0808 17 17 700. Hi, Stevie and Craigend. Good evening.
Good evening, guys. How are you doing?
Hi, Stevie.
Yeah, good. Thank you. What's in your mind tonight?
Obviously, terrifying Wednesday. I think you should just call it Because I think when we looked at the last 3 games, guys, the Motherwell game in between was the one that scared us the most. I know what Darren's saying, and I wish I had his confidence, but you say to yourself, the both games are going to be in the telly. Am I going to be listening to the Celtic game and watching the Falkirk game? Possibly. You know what I mean? But as I say, it's a tough game to go. Sunday was great, absolutely, but it means nothing if we don't carry it on to Wednesday and then carry it on to Saturday. The nerves will start tomorrow, Paul. But I just think we did well on Sunday, but Rangers still bullied us with that volley at the top, and Motherwell can get through you like a hot knife through butter, guys. So they think with the way that they pass it. So do we have the character and the experience that if we do go behind, can we stay in the game? Can we fight to get back in the game? Yes, but I think other people's minds are going to be elsewhere as well. I mean, behind the scenes, guys.
Yeah, but not the Celtic players. What do you think they were in the first half? Austin Trusty, not just him, but he had a tough time, didn't he, against Chermiti?
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with Stevie's point that the Rangers did cause them a lot of problems. Austin Trusty was having all sorts of bother with Chermiti. Mikey Moore's picking up really nice spaces. Motherwell aren't physically imposing like that. It'll be a different style of game. You're right. They obviously have a really good technical ability to play through you. I think Celtic have struggled with that for the majority of the season, but now when you've got Alistair Johnson back in the team, and particularly Arne Engels, the amount of kind of running power in the team has significantly increased. And then you add in Diza Maeda, which he deserves every bit of credit he's getting now, but part of me also thinks, where have you been for the last 2/3 of the season? So these guys now are in tune. They've got the players they need back. I'm going to be totally honest. I can picture them running over the top of Motherwell. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because a few weeks ago I certainly didn't think that. I think Celtic will have far too much for Motherwell.
I know you don't say that lightly. Mark, what are you thinking? Changes for the Celtic team then? Because you can hear Stevie sounds as, a bit nervous ahead of it.
I would imagine it was the same back four. You're right. In terms of Trusty, he was really, really nervy. And I think that kind of almost for a while, spread because he was so nervy. It made his teammates nervy about him. I mean, Chermiti was all over him, and he couldn't cope. And he's been like that on a few occasions this season, Austin Trusty. And other times he's been superb. But there's no doubt he'll be the partner of Scales tomorrow night in the middle of the park. Also McGregor and Engels are gimmies. Nygren, you would imagine. It's just really the wide area. Maida's going to be the number 9. There's no doubt about that. And Yang will start. So it's who do you go back to a McCown? It didn't really work in Sunday, although I understood why they did it, but it didn't work.
And what a pass for the first goal.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a great pass. But again, Paul, to highlight for me the difference in managers, you're talking about somebody like Martin O'Neill. For me, in footballing terms, Martin O'Neill's a genius in footballing terms. So you look at Sunday and you compare the two managers. So it's not working with Luke McCowan, not working. What do? Half time, you're off. We're not hanging about. It's no, son, you've got 5 or 10 minutes. You're off. We need to do something different because we need to win the game. So you compare it. So for me, again, we spoke about Scov Olsen. Where did that come from at Tynecastle? Let Rangers down. What's the manager thinking about? And then from nowhere, Antman comes in. Now, Antman, Paul, how was it to get? I never noticed for 35 minutes it was on the pitch.
Honestly, yeah.
Then when the Sky cameras are burning, he looked a nervous wreck. He just looked out his depth. What do? They keep him on the pitch. So there's a manager not grasping that somebody's struggling in his team, even though they're level at half time, and let's do something about it. He kept Scov Olsen on the pitch too long. And what does he do at Tynecastle? Takes Mikey Moore off. He always produces something. Yeah, so there's things like that, and that's where tactically you could pick a number of games where Danny Rule has been off it. But to get back to Celtic, I wonder if he'll go Forrest tomorrow night for his experience and his composure. Have Forrest down the right with Johnston, and have Yang on the left hand. I think it comes down to Forrest or Tineke, and to start tomorrow night, I would go with the experience and composure of Forrest.
Darren, what do you feel on that?
It's the only position that's in question, I think. So I would personally do that. In saying that, because Konecki came off the bench at the weekend, that could be the way. But that's the only position that's up for debate.
Stevie, what do you make of it?
Again, I don't think he'll change too much for the second half team. I do agree with Paul. Luke McEwan's pass to Engels was outstanding. So it was. I mean, they've got a really good understanding. I know Celtic were a bit off balance, but what worries me is the system that Murray will play with the 2-2-2. So we can have Alistair Johnston back all we want, but if they're going to just basically, flood the middle of the park, right up to the halfway line guys to Celtic's box, then Celtic need to deal with that. So did they, and that's my fear, guys. Mark picked up on it that they are really, really good. I mean, at passing the ball about, totally different to what Rangers are. So there, you know what I mean? But I just think it's just worrying me, Paul. You know what I mean? It's just, I can't say it anymore. It's
okay.
You've said it. The split was done. You know what I mean? It was one of the games that you looked at me. I'm not worried about the Rangers game, and if I need out the last game in Hearts, I'm not worried about that. It's a Motherwell game. Where are we going to be when we play Motherwell? And now we're at that tipping point. So we are where we need to stay in touch with Hearts, level with Hearts, and touch with Hearts. Because if we do anything wrong tomorrow and Hearts win, it's game over.
That's right, they're champions. If Celtic lose tomorrow night and Hearts win, they are champions.
Yeah, but the other thing to look at it, I get why Stevie's nervous about tomorrow night, and every right to be, but the other way to look at it, Stevie, I think, is you as a Celtic supporter for many, many titles in the past 15 years, you've won it at a canter. You've won it with 3, 4, 5 games to spare. Most seasons you're getting into the split with the cigars out. So this is sometimes what you have to do to win a title. I'm sitting next to a guy who had to do it in 2008. Yep. You had to go and do it and win every game to be a champion, and that's the scenario that Celtic find themselves in, and they've got to embrace it. They cannot be scared of it. They must take on that challenge and be confident of getting it over the line Saturday lunchtime.
Stevie, thank you so much for your call. 0808 17 17 700. Derek McInnes will have a lot to say about it. I think he's spoken really well recently, hasn't he? I think he has all season. So he spoke today ahead of the game tomorrow night and the game on Saturday, but he just wanted to talk about Falkirk. Not unsurprisingly.
For us, the team meeting we have when I come out of this press with the players will just be about we're focused on this game and no distractions other than that, really. So I think that any of that kind of talk, I understand it, but and it's actually nice to even hear that Hearts could win the league at Tynecastle. I mean, I don't know how many people have been able to say that in their lifetime, so. But listen, the likelihood is if we're going to win a league, we're going to have to win 2 games or certainly pick up 4 points in the next 2 games.
It'll be rocking tomorrow night, obviously, at Tynecastle. The Colin will be on singing again the Hertz song, Mark, which you love so much. I'm just making that bit up.
No, it was really, I mean, what an atmosphere was created at Tynecastle last Monday night with was it Derek the singer on the pitch, and then Hearts showing a really strong mentality to come from a goal down and go and get their act together. Derek, again, we talk about tactics. Derek made a tactical change at half time and it paid off. Danny Rule, didn't he, respond? And it's all those wee things, Paul, that without going back to Danny Rule, that makes me think he's not up to it. And apart from that, I said it as well, the situation with Giga at full time last Monday night, where he's on the pitch laughing after Rangers have lost the title or out of the title race, for me that's totally unacceptable. But to me that's symptomatic of the manager not fully grasping what it's all about and not being in full control of his dressing room. If that was me, somebody should have showed him that. And what a message that would have sent out to Rangers supporters in the Rangers dressing room. Giga, thanks very much, but that's not acceptable. Pack your bags and get back to Wolves. I'm not having it. But there he is, he's in the team. But for me, that's totally unacceptable and totally disrespectful to the Rangers supporters and his teammates.
Colin's on WhatsApp saying, guys, I think Danny Rule has done a decent job for our club, but enough is enough. Get people that know Rangers and Scottish football, get Barry Ferguson back in, along with Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, and back them with money in the summer transfer. So that's Colin, a big Rangers fan, on just now, kind of echoing. We spoke about it last night. Look, for Danny Rule, what's your sense? What do you think will happen? Do you think he'll be here at the start of the season?
I don't know. I think I try to think of it logically and think he's come in. He's obviously had it was a 13-point deficit. That's obviously been he brought it back to a point, was it? And then it's kind of widened quickly. I'll always be in the camp of trying to give a manager time. He's only had a window which there was money and there was a fair bit of money spent and he was backed. But I mean, up here, the reality is if you come that close, and it's how quickly they've gone out of the race. If this ended on the last game of the season, I think it would have been, I'd say, forgiven, but certainly you could stomach it more. I think Rangers fans will struggle for the fact that they've not even had a sweat on with the split. So the owners backing managers, I just don't listen to anymore because ultimately, especially up here, the fan bases will tell you what's going on, and at the minute you can tell that's changing.
And Mark Fernandez was saying overnight, look, we lacked fight. How can you lack fight playing at Rangers? And you're after the split, you're up against Celtic, and I'm not saying he didn't give everything, but he said it. We lacked fight, and the Rangers fans are not having it.
No, that's on the players, Paul. Yeah. That's where team selection, tactics, substitutions. You look at Danny Rule and the staff. When you're talking about fight, that's down to the players. That's totally down to you as an individual on the pitch. And I've heard a lot of Rangers supporters saying recently, I think it was a caller on last night, about lacking a bit of Scottish identity, and I go along with that. I think that's really important, and the manager doesn't grasp it. Philippe Clement didn't grasp it. That outrageous quote when they drew 3 each with Celtic's a moral victory. I mean, miles off it to come out with something like that. So for me, Paul, it's very, very simple. Rangers have to sack Danny Role, and it comes down to two people. It comes down to Derek McInnes or Barry Ferguson. Who do you want? And some people say Steven Gerrard's still available. If you go for Steven Gerrard, there's always going to be that niggle that he wants to get back down the road. The first decent job, if he's doing well up here, he's back down the road. Barry and Derek, no Rangers, and would stay and build something. And it could well be, even if Celtic become champions on Saturday afternoon, Celtic could still be there for the taking. A lot of hard work ahead at Celtic in terms of what they do. They need to get it right, whether they keep Mark Neal or bring someone else in. So there's a real chance for Rangers, even though it's ended on an absolute shocker the past 2 weeks. If they get the right guy in charge, they can build a title-winning team during the summer. But Danny Rule is not the man to do that.
More on that after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
We'll have a live studio audience again here on Thursday night. We enjoyed it. Hope you did too. We had some great people in the studio from all, or most of the clubs, just asking brilliant questions. Not like the stupid ones that I ask you half the time, like earlier on. How'd the points thing win? If or what? Guys, that doesn't work in radio. And you think I'd know that by now. You know, if this happens, if that happens, what? On the radio, we can't. Well, we can, of course, on YouTube. We can show the graphics. But listen, what we do know is it's going to be an amazing end to the season for Celtic or Hearts. And then for Rangers fans, they're on in big numbers. Some of them backing Danny Rule, some of them looking for change. But let's hear a bit more, though, from Martin O'Neill ahead of the game tomorrow night. Motherwell against Celtic. It's not live in Sky, though, is it?
Yeah, both are on now. Yeah.
Is that fully on? Because
both games are on.
For sure, the whole game.
So what they're doing,
they're
having the same, they're using the one panel right up until kickoffs, and then they'll split to two channels.
Okay,
one
good.
channel at Tynecastle, and the presentation will come from Tynecastle tomorrow night. But both games are on.
Oh, there you are. You heard it first. Because I thought I saw something saying, and we'll give you flashes from the other game.
That was initially, but then it was agreed last night before the Celtic game as well.
Yeah, who's going to be the manager of the year? I'm hoping the august football writers in Scotland, and I'm looking forward to going on Sunday night. I'm hoping they're going to leave it until the last minute because look, Darren McInnes has won the players. That's good. He won the Glens. Yep. Surely the football writers will wait and see. So Derek, if he wins the title, will be the manager of the year. But if it's Martin O'Neill, surely Martin has to go up to collect the Manager of the Year award. Don't know what you think. Give us a call, 0808 17 17 700. How's he feeling after that win at the weekend? This is Martin O'Neill.
Actually, that's really been quite easy. People are saying to me that you don't celebrate the goals in the manner in which you used to. Well, one, I'm older. Two, I can't jump as high. And three, I don't even know whether it's a goal or not. Because what's the point in celebrating something that's going to be ruled offside or penalty or something else or whatever the case may be? So I'll just stay with my doer self. All right. I think it takes the spontaneity away. Yeah, I've always felt that, So, so I decide there's no point. I'm not so sure you can enjoy it, really. You enjoy it if you win, you can enjoy it, yeah.
Mark, the changing face of the game.
Yeah, you can see his point, and having done a number of Q&A nights with Martin, he does speak about the 6-2 game, his very first Old Firm game back in August 2000, and how he didn't relax until Chris Sutton scored the 6th goal with a minute to go. He said even at 5-2, he said no. He said it's such a fantastic Rangers team at that point, and that's what I thought on Sunday with just a 2-goal lead. Rangers just got 1 goal, half an hour to go. They're right back in the game, and you look at what Chermiti was doing and Moore was doing. They hit the woodwork
Miofsky
with 2 minutes to go. So you can understand why people were getting carried away because of the beauty of Maeda's goal. No doubt about that. But I totally get where Martin O'Neill was coming from, because Rangers weren't out of it.
Darren, where are we on all that? You can understand it. You're in football management. It's difficult these days because you have to wait to see what VAR is going to judge.
Yeah, I've spoken about it before. Obviously, I coached down the championship in England, and there is no VAR. And honestly, if I had to be really, really truthful, I wish there was VAR down there, because there was decisions made, and you knew they were wrong. And nowadays you've got iPads and laptops on the bench, so you can see them live, but they didn't have the ability to change them. So, I think, I totally agree, Martin. It takes away the spontaneity, but I think it's the future of football. I think it's not going to go away, so we're going to have to get used to it. But yeah, Martin O'Neill, it's fantastic to see how nervous he actually is. Do you know what I mean? For all he's achieved, and he doesn't necessarily need this to verify he's a top level manager and has an incredible career. But he's just as nervous now, and it just shows you to be at the level he has been at, and he's still at. I actually quite like the fact of how nervous he is, because he could really be laid back, and he doesn't need this in his life. He wants it. He's still got the boat for it, and it's actually brilliant to see.
Mark, it's quite a story, isn't it, that he's been back at Celtic twice. And I know you used an expression which some people say was a bit harsh, that he was sacked, but he was brought in. He won, was it 7 out of 8? Whatever. 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
And then on cup final week. And these must be so hard to win. How many trophies did you win, Darren? You won a lot of trophies. You'd love to have won even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most people don't win any. So it was kind of given away. League Cup final. And that was wrong because there was no queue for Wilfred Nancy. The guy was in town. Let him come in. Give Martin O'Neill that week when Hearts were coming to Celtic anyway. And Celtic could have gone back top of the table. And then, a trophy.
I think you had Roma in between that, didn't you? Wasn't it Roma?
Yeah, Roma at Celtic Park.
That's right, which was, when we know the story. So, what's my point? See, on VAR, what about stuff at the weekend? Because, Rangers not happy with it. There's been a meeting, I think it's going on, it has been going on in the last hour or so about VAR. Derek McInnes wasn't happy about VAR, about the decision the other night at Motherwell.
Yeah.
Where'd you stand on them all? Should we go on the Hearts one? The
penalty kick.
The penalty.
Yeah. Paul, I've said this a lot with various decisions, and I'm not sitting on the fence, but this is, my view. The claim for a penalty kick from Hearts. All right, there's no doubt there's contact. I think the player creates a fall rather than naturally through contact that goes down. So right away, that's a bit of a red flag. And the 3 or 4 rollover. So I don't think it's a pen. Now, had Stephen McLean given the penalty in live time, I would have accepted it. I don't think it would have gone to VAR to see maybe, look at that. So if it's something absolutely blatant, Paul, that's not up for debate, I'm all for VAR getting involved. But I didn't think Greg Aitken should have got involved. I think you stick with the on-field decision. And in many ways, just in terms of refereeing and VAR, I was really pleased to see Stephen McLean sticking to his guns, because for me there wasn't enough to overturn it.
Willie Collum has apparently, this is according to Derek McInnes, whom we've no reason to doubt, at the press conference this afternoon. This is in the Sun online. Willie Collum has agreed Hearts should have been awarded a penalty on Monday night against Motherwell. So Saturday night. I'm reading exactly. It was Saturday. Derek McInnes. So, we haven't heard yet from Willie Collum, but it sounds as though the referee supervisor, the overall guru, has said, it should have been.
Yeah. So Everton Mark says, I totally agree with that's what you would want. But the reality is managers keep, I'm listening to them all the time. The word you hear more than anything is we just want consistency. Yeah. So Stephen McLean decides, I totally agree, by the way, that I thought it was great that he showed the strength. But I don't know, reading the context, is that the right time to show that? Because as a manager, you've gone through a full season or beyond that, obviously, since VAR has been in, and that's the moment you decide to go against it. Yep. We all know 99% of the time when you get sent to the screen, the referee is going with the decision. Yep. So I thought, yes, I can admire the bravery, but at the same point, I thought it was very, very strange to do that. You would surely go with VAR at that time because you've got guys in the studio, you're trusting them. Do I think longer term that is the right? Maybe not. But I thought it was a strange thing to do. I thought to go against VAR when 99% of the time they're going with it. We know that when they go to the screen, it's a penalty.
What did you make of the Mikey Moore tackle?
Mark touched on it before. It's re-reffing the game. Would you have been happy with it if on this? Or sorry, say been happy if it was given as a red card? Should it be overturned? Probably not. So Alistair Johnson in that essence is fortunate. I just was surprised because when you, again, it's going back to the consistency. When you slow it down, which they do, and they slow it down far too much for me because it looks horrendous at times. I'm surprised it didn't come back. But do I think tackles like these should be sent off? No. But at the same point, if you're looking for consistency, usually these things come back. And they'd slow it down to an nth degree where it looks horrendous, where it wasn't a horrendous tackle. Alistair Johnson won the ball, and the follow through hits Mikey Moore above the ankle, and that is usually the indication they'll look back at it. So am I happy it wasn't a send off? Of course. And I don't mean that to do with Celtic. I don't think these should be send offs. We go back to consistency. I can understand why managers, players get really, really frustrated with it.
Mark, what do you feel?
Again, I would go the off-field, the on-field decision. And I think, and I can understand the anger and frustration. And again, had Nick Walsh, the match referee on Sunday, produced a straight red at that point, I said, yeah, I can absolutely see your point. And I wouldn't look to overturn it. But the fact that he's given yellow, because Nick's actually think, well, he's won the ball. Yeah, there's been a follow-through, but he has won the ball cleanly. And VAR decided not to get involved. But I think a directive in terms of what Dan's saying there for all managers trying to achieve consistency, my view is Willie Collum's directive to his staff for the new season should be, you're getting too involved sometimes. You really are getting too involved. Things that are 50-50, you need to leave it be. You need to let the game flow more. I always find that when we're watching Champions League or international games, very rarely do you see VAR getting involved. The game flows a lot better. I just think we're a wee bit too quick in the VAR studio to get involved.
And do you think he will do that? Will he be brave enough?
It's up to him.
Yeah.
It's up to him, but he might think it's fine. He might think it's not. I mean, listen, there's no doubt Derek's been on the phone to him, and rightly so. He's got to fight his corner. There's a title on the line. Martin O'Neill had a pop at the referees, spoke to Willie Collum last week, Danny Rowles, so they all have a go. And the thing is, and Dan knows, Dan's been at Motherwell, he's been at Dundee, all over. These things it gets me, it makes me laugh when you hear Celtic say, oh, they've got it in for us. The referee got, listen, you go around any manager of the country, any set of supporters, they're not happy.
That's right.
They're not happy.
And they think the Old Firm get most of the decisions.
Exactly, particularly at Parkhead and Ibrox. Yeah. So this thing that's about, it only matters because it's Celtic. No, it doesn't. Different teams have got different things on the line. We've got a team that could end up in the playoff tonight with the fixture. So there's lots of things going on. But overall, the standard needs to be better, Paul. And sometimes with the benefit of VAR, the technology and the pictures that some of the VAR officials have, and they actually don't do anything about it, or they still get the wrong decision, you think, my God, you shouldn't be anywhere near a whistle or anywhere near a screen because you're totally at your depth. But
they're becoming the stars of it. You hear their names more and more. Yeah. I don't hear that so much in English football or in the European football. We don't hear so much about who's on VAR. We're getting to know all these names. Danny Rowe spoke about the refereeing decisions in the game with Celtic.
Yeah, I watched it back, and I took the 1-1, and I watched our game back against Motherwell at home. I think there was a similar goal, and it was offside. I don't know why that was then not offside. And then when I saw the attack versus Mikey Moore, I think it was a strong one. Then you can think about, in this 10 minutes, it could be 1-0 and 10 men. And the club is moving forward. They have conversations also with the federation, with the refs. I think this is important. And this is also where we have to be. We cannot everything accept in these moments. I know we are not the refs, but finally 2 decisions with big impacts in this game.
So Danny was then asked for a bit more about this, the club meeting with referees.
I have to apologise. I was not perfect. They have the meeting, I think, now. But today is the meeting with them, and it will be interesting how the explanation is about the situation. We had this also in the last, I don't know after which game it was also a conversation with them. I think some excuses and some points they made, it's also the ref view and not the club view. But I think important is that we have this conversation with them to get really a feeling why and why not. Why in this situation, why not in this situation.
We'll find out what happened in that meeting, but at the end of the day, Rangers are going to come third. So he spoke today, he was asked, do you have the backing of Andrew Kavanagh and the whole board?
Yes. I think the last 48 hours was, like I can say it, unbelievable. The support from the board. Everyone around me see a lot of positive things, but we are also critical with ourselves. I think there's no question mark. The most important thing is, and this is what I many times said, we have to take all the informations and what we need in the new season. And I think you can imagine. I think with Tev we will lose the captain, and it means for us, and this is for us a big signal as well. We need new leaders, more leaders for the dressing room, to set our standards, what we want in the training pitch, in difficult moments in the game. I think this is crucial, and this is a great opportunity to work on this. I had yesterday a conversation again with the club, and you can be really, trust me, I'm very clear, especially also after the last 3 weeks, what we need to be top.
but they're third at the moment. What do you make of that, Mark?
Hey, I'm not impressed. I just, I've kind of, and I mean, with all respect to it, I've kind of switched off
Have you?
from him, Paul.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't think he's got it. I really don't. 4 times he's come up against Martin O'Neill. I'll beat him once, knocked out both competitions, 2-0 up at half time in the league, thrown it away. Couldn't beat Motherwell, 10 men at Fir Park, 1 up. And he's been backed by the board. He's been really backed by the board in January, not only with the incomings, but making it clear that there were certain guys that couldn't be sold. So he was backed by his board. And like I say, just listen to that, Paul, all the different things. He tried to take on Martin O'Neill, backfired on him. There's just too many red flags for me. And I know when Russell Martin's the manager, you've got to stick by him, you've got to eventually give somebody time. That's him, because that's at the start of the season. But he's come in at the business end, he's had a crack at it, he's got back into it, and he's failed. Whatever way you look at it, it's unacceptable for Rangers to be in, to have the title in their own hands, get into the split, and to lose their opening 3 games. No crack at Champions League football now. Either. There's just too many things there. So I'll go back to it. Andrew Kavanagh and the new owners have backed their managers, and nothing but credit for them for that. But they've also really bad errors of judgment. The first one, not giving Barry Ferguson the job. Don't make the same mistake again. They need to go and get, for Rangers, assess the situation, do what's right, long term as well, and building what's required. And there's new leaders required, and that dressing room needs a right good shake. And Derek McInnes or Barry Ferguson, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's one of the two. Just accept that you've made a mistake, accept that it's not going to happen under Danny Rule, and go and get one of those 2 guys in.
We need to take a quick break, and then we'll straight back.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Thanks for making the switch. A few of you were asking how can we vote for you on the podcast for the programme. We're going to let you know as soon as we've got it ready for you. So quite a few people. Great to see quite a few of the other podcasts there yesterday as well. Yep. And Cy Ferry and Slaney and the I should have said to Cy, congratulations on East Kilbride promotion.
Yeah, great for Paul Cooney and James Keane, who've put so much into it, not just this season, but over the last 10, 12 years. And to get back-to-back promotions, so for Mick and his staff and his players and everyone involved at East Kilbride, went up to watch them a few times this season, and absolutely delighted for them to go up as champions.
Talking about tonight and talking about promotion and all the rest of it, the big game is Partick Thistle Dunfermline this evening, and wow, it's going to be tough. It's going to be two legs, Mark. If you get any insight who you think it's going to be, who's going to come up?
Do you know what? I would fancy Partick Thistle, Paul, over the two legs, but you would never rule out Neil Lennon or Dunfermline. I mean, Todd's been great up front, and do you know what? It's a great credit to Neil Lennon, the way he reinvigorates players and revives. You know, like I look at Chris Kane, what a fantastic goal he scored against Arbroath in the first leg. I remember him at St Johnson. You know, he wouldn't start. He was very unlucky with injury, but look at what Neil getting a right tune at him. The goalkeeper as well, different things. So he's done really well. But I just think that Dunfermline as well, just a quarter of an eye in the cup final. Too, and maybe Partick Thistle will take advantage of that.
So it's East End Park tonight. We need to keep up with this one because Clyde play Hamilton at Hamilton tonight, and then next week they play them at Broadwood. It's bizarre, Darren, isn't it? It's crazy. So Aki's hanging on in there despite all those penalty points this season. Listen, we'll talk about it more as the week goes on. Is it Friday night then is the final, and then who's going to play, and who are they going to play? Because tonight, Kilmarnock against Dundee, Dundee United Livy, and Aberdeen's St Mirren. For St Mirren, it's absolutely huge to try and get something this evening, isn't it?
Yeah, I think St Mirren are nailed on to be in that second bottom. I don't see them picking up a win tonight. I see Kilmarnock picking up a win. So that'll obviously invariably either way that'll put them in second bottom, and I do really, really worry for them now. It's incredible to think that they've won a cup this year. They did obviously the semi-final, which they ended up been not far away.
Extra time.
But now they're in a bad situation where you've got a team that can't score a goal. That's the first thing. And the second thing, whatever about Craig McLeish, it's not on him, but you've got a manager, a rookie manager, say a rookie coach even. He's not got loads of experience. Sure. I don't know. I think when you get into these moments, you need either, where it's Celtic, you've got Martin O'Neill kind of dragging forward, or you've got players on the pitch, and I just don't see who is it that's going to get them out of this mess.
Mark, your old club, St Mirren?
Yeah, I think they're going to go, Paul, and I'll have to be honest, I wouldn't fancy them to play off if it's Partick Thistle. I really wouldn't. But on that, the flip side of that, and I know there's still, one more job to be done, but, credit to Neil McCann and Billy Dodge. Took a couple of batterings, away at Falkirk and stuff, but they've bounced back. A great win. Keeping clean sheets, and when you think they lost their main striker,
sure,
what his name escapes me,
Jules, is it?
Jules, he was running riot in games. They lost him, and they've still managed to to keep it going. So credit to them.
Yeah, if they win, then 37 points. St Mirren on 30. Let's go back to the other end of the table. Second top, Celtic in action tomorrow night, and Kevin's on the line, Celtic fan. Good evening, Kevin.
How you doing, boys? You okay?
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, tip top, thank you. What about you? What's your point this evening?
Oh, I've just about come back off cloud nine now, mate. After the weekend, that was some performance for Celtic. I think that was the closest we got to a 90-minute performance of Celtic in a long time. I know Rangers probably had the better of the opening maybe 15 minutes or so, but I thought Celtic were in full control with that game. I was disappointed that we went behind, but just listen, the goals, I mean, Dyson Maida, that second goal, that was just absolute cinema, so it was. I mean, I'm 43 and I can tell there's only been a few goals that have really got you quite emotional through the years, and the last goal that really got a grip of me was probably Nakamura against Man United, because I sat right behind that free kick as Van der Sar struggled to get to it and it went right in the tap in. And that Dyson Maida goal was just the same. Probably one of the best goals I've ever seen live at Celtic Park. Absolutely amazing. And we put ourselves in a good position. I did say a few weeks ago, I think, was it last week, I'd said I didn't agree with Mark where he said the Hearts will win the opening 2 games. They would have won the league. I didn't agree with it. I thought it would go to the wire. It's looking like it's coming to it, but if there was one team that you would rather avoid playing away with 2 games to go, it would probably be Motherwell. So Celtic are going to have to, as Mark say, don't be scared. They're going to have to embrace it and step up to the plate. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be champions, go and beat Motherwell and prove that you deserve to be champions, you know what I mean? Because otherwise, all the hard work that Martin and he was done in the past six or 7 games in a row we've won, it's all down the drain. There's no point whipping Rangers and then getting beat at Motherwell. And they'll be motivated because I think Motherwell are still they're not guaranteed Europe yet, so they'll be a bit motivated. But so it's going to be a really, really good game, and I'm really looking forward to it as a football fan. I'm looking forward to it because I love watching Motherwell play football. I think they're brilliant.
Everyone does.
As a Celtic fan, I don't think I'll have any nails left by the time the 90th minute comes. I'm just hoping I'll take a 1-0 win or go off somebody's backside. I know, I don't care what it is. Just get the 3 points, get it done. Get Hearts at Celtic Park Saturday and win that title.
Darren O'Dea, you've been over the course when Celtic had to win the remaining games. So, what insight can you give, Kevin?
I want to sound really respectful because I've been to loads of Motherwell games, and I've been there because I've loved the style of play. I've loved watching them. They've been an excellent team. Listen, they've had all the credit and they deserve it all. But if I'm a Celtic player right now sitting in his restaurant, I'm going, we've nothing to fear. We're going to Fir Park to play against players that, with due respect, the sum of the parts is bigger than the individual players. We've got some of our main players back in the team. We're in flying form. Like, you cannot be, as a Celtic player, going to win a title and be feared of going to Fir Park. That sounds really, really disrespectful, but it's the reality. And I would hope I would believe that's the mentality of the full group. And especially now you're coming off the back of, I completely agree with Kevin. Mark's touched on probably the best performance of the season domestically anyway. I mean, you cannot tell me you can't go to Fir Park and I mean, not win convincingly in terms of 3-4-0 or anything like that, but properly run over the top of Motherwell. That's the way I feel about it. I think the Celtic players now will have the bit between the teeth. I think there'll be too much for Motherwell.
And you've got to, I would imagine, expect Hearts to win against Falkirk.
100%, 100%, yeah.
Because if Hearts win and if Celtic lost tomorrow night, you're denying the 60,000 fans who are desperate for the game on Saturday, Mark. They want to be there, having seen, scenes on Sunday that they haven't experienced for a long time.
Yeah, it's all there, Paul. As I say, it's great excitement, and obviously Derek McInnes and Hearts will be hoping to win it tomorrow night in front of their own fans. I don't think they would revel having to go to Celtic Park to avoid defeat to win the title, especially without Halkett and Leonard.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine tomorrow night without those 2 guys. But those 2 guys have experienced. They're warriors. They've been really, really strong. Cammy Devlin's not ready to play 90 minutes. Certainly not Wednesday, Saturday. That's for sure. So you're taking a big chunk out of the team. But of course, you still get Braga and Shanklin, and that's always going to give you a threat. But, Derek, I think will be really hoping that Motherwell can try and do him a turn tomorrow night. As Martin O'Neill was wanting on Saturday night, Motherwell to do him a turn.
Maeda, sensational. We've not heard that for some time. Do you think he's got a twin brother that we didn't see for some time and he's come out? No, it was great to hear him interviewed afterwards as well on the telly, because they're with the interpreter.
Yeah, he's
you know him well, obviously.
He's not. Yeah, I think he actually spoke more than he normally does. He's normally mischievous with the interviews. He does word answers a lot.
But he knows so much.
Yeah, he's just not bothered. But listen, he's clearly wanted away from the club, which is understandable. He's been an incredible servant to Celtic. He thought he was probably moving. He's got his bit. He's got the bit between the teeth again, and he's been incredible for the last number of games.
Kevin, we have to go. The news is next. Thank you so much. 08 08 17 17 700. News is next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Can you believe it's the final week of the league season? Then we've got the cup final a week on Saturday, and then the countdown's on. I think it's at 30 days to the World Cup starts.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Can't believe. Craig Ferguson doing well over there in America, who's been on a few times with us, raising a bundle of money.
Absolutely great. Yeah, I heard them on Jim and Simon as well.
Sure,
just the day he was on, after he was on here at night, and they just got through Texas or something like that.
Geography's not my strong point.
But,
like football,
it was in great. It was in
it's good.
Great form. His mate giving up his job.
It's amazing.
To go and do
what
that
a story.
with him. Brilliant.
Some man for men's. Mental health, good luck to Craig. We'll get him back on soon. And Stephen Reside, who came on the programme last week, it was the big conference on disability at McDermott Park on Thursday, and he's going to come back on soon to tell us how that is going. And hey, he's a Motherwell fan, so he's looking forward to tomorrow night and their final game at the weekend. What a season for Motherwell. A few Motherwell fans on saying, listen, are we going to lose Bertolascu, and is it going to be Celtic? Well, I think that's, I don't know if it's the bookies' favourite at the moment, but his name is being mentioned more than anyone else. Robbie Keane, that's died down a little bit for a month or so. People were saying Robbie Keane, but also, what about Martin O'Neill for next season? So, Darren, you've been at a lot of your career at Celtic playing and also in the management team not that long ago. It's a huge football club. Hearts now have got Tony Bloom and the analytics and all the rest of it. Rangers have got the money in from America. They've made some mistakes, but they will probably they'll look to get it right soon. What do you feel at Celtic the structure should be, or what's your feeling for next season? What's going to happen?
But my gut feeling is Martin won't be the manager, and I don't think that's because he doesn't deserve to be, or it's quite the opposite. I don't see him leaving the club fully though either. But I just don't envisage him being the manager. I think he'll probably be a big part of the conversation of what he actually wants to do. It's very, very hard. Behind the scenes at Celtic, there's a lot of work to be done in a multitude of different roles. The manager clearly been the most important. I understand why Bertolascu is kind of the favourite, because he's the obvious candidate. He's in the league. He's done an incredible job. But I mean, we didn't know of Wilfred Nancy, and I know it's going to give people shivers bringing his name up, but the reality is we didn't know Ange Postecoglou before he came in. That's right. So I don't know. Celtic are capable of finding someone. Well, one's from Australia, from the Japanese league, and one's from the MLS, and it's somewhere in between. So I have no idea who's going to be in charge of Celtic next season. But I would like to think that is certainly down the line to a certain extent.
They've got it wrong in the last year, but Mark, you know well, they surprised the Celtic fans bringing back Brendan Rodgers, and they got 2 doubles. And then the first time Brendan Rodgers coming in, then the rest was history. And that was ambitious. You just wonder what they're going to do for this coming season.
For me, Paul, it's very simple. It's an easy decision for Dermot Desmond in the hierarchy. You offer the job to Martin O'Neill.
Do you think he'll do that?
I don't know. But if they don't ask Martin O'Neill the question, and that would also be up to Martin O'Neill, taking it easy, still get the appetite, or does he think if they do win the league or win a double, actually, you know what's the perfect time to go? Or do you know what? I think I can go and build and really kick his own. If we can get a good window and actually go and sign some players that the manager wants, then that would be a great start as well. But why would you not offer it to him if he wins the league? It's just, it would be madness not to offer him the job, Paul. It genuinely would be. He was doing great the last time. They get rid of him. They brought in Nancy. Spoke about Rangers and Barry Ferguson. Barry Ferguson, okay, didn't win a title last season, but there was enough there to say, actually, let's go with this guy. And my other point would be on it. Martin O'Neill's, they're getting a turn. They're 2 wins away from winning the title. He has helped to stabilise the club. Because there's no doubt about it, the Celtic fans would really have turned had Martin not been out respect for Martin O'Neill. They're still angry, and there's still issues to resolve. But Martin O'Neill has kept the wolves from the main door because of who he is and because of the results. So here's my scenario. Ask you, I get it, he's in the court. For me, there's no doubt he's been very, very good. My just question would be, and you can see it with Danny Rowe at Rangers, is there enough of a body of work to justify being the Celtic manager? Because it's not just about being good for 20 games in 6 months. Dan knows the demands are much, much greater. The scrutiny, the media, the supporters. You know, there might be progress made between the hierarchy and the fans, but it won't be completely solved. There'll still be ongoing issues. So you've got all that as well that he'll have to deal with, that Martin O'Neill deals with superbly well. So let's say, as I ask you, so let's say Martin O'Neill wins the league, wins the double, and they don't offer him the job, and they bring in Askew or Robbie Keane or whoever you want to mention, and they've got Champions League qualifiers, which are notoriously difficult, particularly if you don't get the players in early doors. You lose your Champions League qualifier, you don't go off to a great start in the league. What's the first thing that the fans are going to say, the angry fans? Why is this guy in the job? Why do we not keep Martin O'Neill? So it's very unfair, and a new guy get in as well, Paul. I think it really puts his back against the wall if he's getting in following Martin O'Neill's footsteps, if he's a title man. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. If Martin O'Neill wins the league, you must offer him the job. Whether he wants it or not is up to him. If Derek McInnes wins the league, Hearts going to sack him?
Of course not.
If Danny Rowe had won the league, would Rangers have sacked him?
Of course not.
No, so why would Celtic do it to a title-winning manager?
This is Martin O'Neill today, speaking about the crowd, and it's interesting. He talks about the journey with the fans, ups and the downs this season.
It is at this minute, absolutely, and who knows whether it's just respite or whatever the case may be. I just don't know. But what I do feel is that the crowd have been really, really big. You know, I thought that, and I know I said this to you before, when the crowd looked indifferent, let's put it that way, to begin with, and then throwing things onto the pitch, I thought it wasn't going to affect the players. I think that the game against was it Stuttgart, you know, when things were thrown on, I thought that I didn't think that helped anybody, but I think it's a combination of us winning some football matches, trying to get together, and some sort of accord between the board and the fans. I think all combination of those things has been terrific, really terrific. And again, I say that Sunday's game really did bring me back, you know, so to some long gone yesteryear. But it was really great against, you know, Rangers. So anyway, and at least I didn't lose that game, you know, which is nice. But I say I lose the games. I don't, you know, I've got a team really. You know, I'm essentially, to quote Brian Clough's, I think, phrase once when he talked about Peter Taylor, and he said that Clough was the shop window and that Taylor was the goods at the back. Well, I feel this about the coaching staff.
Darren, he's really energised, isn't he? Interesting that he's talking about the role of the fans, and you heard Mark saying that he's kept the wolves from the door because there was so much unrest from the supporters.
Yeah. My gut feeling that he's not going to be there is just by the way he's speaking. But then I suppose maybe the conversations haven't started with him yet. But like, I totally agree with Mark. If he's to go and win the league, well, I've actually spoken about this before. Even if he didn't win the league, it's still the job he's done has been brilliant, and his credentials are there. They're there to for everyone to see. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel the way he's speaking. He's constantly. The one thing I would say is some of his interviews with the press, he's fantastic. He's got the palm of his hand. Yeah. But part of that is because he doesn't have to answer what's coming next. Mm-hmm. There's a strength to that. Does Martin O'Neill want, at the minute he is just managing the squad and they're winning games and there's no one better at doing that but him. If he's to take on the job, which he'll know, it's going to be it's a much, much bigger job than just simply leading the team. He's going to have to delve into the recruitment team. He's going to have to build essentially a recruitment team. There's other, Paul Tisdale's left the club. There's other things around the football operations that need to be filled. Martin is going to be the one that would have to lead all of that. And I just think the way he's speaking, it sounds like it might come to an end in terms of him being the manager. But I totally agree with Mark. It doesn't need to.
I hear it differently. I hear somebody with all the experience, and he's a winner. Rangers would pay anything to get a winner. They've got a young manager. He's got loads of potential, Danny Rowe, loads of qualities. But is he a winner? Not so far. And Martin O'Neill, Celtic surely must be. The new season kicks off. I haven't actually worked it out, but probably it's 10 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know better than I know.
They'll be back to training.
Of course.
21st, 22nd of June or something.
Rangers
like
are set. There'll be new signings happening at Rangers, at Hearts already. We said in the programme last night, I'm hearing that Hearts, Tony Bloom's ready to put in more money back in because it's happened in 1 year what he thought would take a bit longer. I mean, he did say at the start of the year, we will split the old firm. I think he did. And people were like, really? He's done that already, even if they don't. So Celtic, surely, it's a serious business. Dermot Desmond, a serious business person, can't be sitting waiting on the results of the next 2 games. Surely there's a plan to try and build on this. They must have something.
Dan's point as well.
Yeah.
Even if Martin O'Neill doesn't win the league, I mean, I'm saying it's a no-brainer if he does, because you don't need to justify it in any shape or form. The only way you'd have to justify, well, didn't he win the league? Yeah, but look what he inherited twice.
Yep.
You know, but it could well be if he does win the league in a double on the 23rd of May and he's going round Hampden Park. You know, if his status could get any better, he might think, and I'm sure he'll speak to his family about it, is, you know what, there's actually no better way to go. There is no better way than to call it a day. But you tend to find with guys like Martin O'Neill, Paul, as you said, they're winners.
Yeah.
They love the game. You'll think, you know what, if I think the board are going to back me and believe in me and Dermot's going to give me the tool, I'm going to go and crack on with Sean and Stephen and Martin. We're going to go and build another title-winning team to go and make it 6 in a row. That's probably what he'll think. But the other bit will be saying, okay, let's just take 48 hours to have a think. Can it get any better than this? Is this the ideal time to go? But regardless of what he thinks, the Celtic board, Dermot Desmond, must offer him the job.
What do you think, Celtic fans? 08, 08, 17, 17, 700, because he was asked today, potentially this is your last away game as Celtic manager tomorrow night?
I don't know about that. I think that we can only look at ourselves, try and win the game tomorrow night if we can, and that would it. And I think then the weekend would take care of itself. But we've come a long distance here. You would like it to go to the last game. I
don't think he was quite asked, is this going to be your last game? He didn't say, because that'd be a great story, so I'm not going to try and claim that one. He was obviously a slightly different question. Character, a lot's been said. We're going to hear from Danny Rowe. We're going to hear from Derek McInnes speaking about mentality of his team. What about the character of the Celtic team? Because they've driven Celtic fans mad during the season. They did in the first half, some of the performance, when, you know, Rangers could have gone 2 up, and I know it was offside or whatever, but they could have collapsed again. So what about the character? What's this feature of Martin O'Neill's team that have come so close?
Well, we've won the game, yeah, and that's been terrific. We scored a late goal at Dundee to win the game. I think we deserved to do so, but you know, when they equalised with the penalty, they were in the ascendancy at that stage. So, and we've shown a bit of character, which I think is, you know, obviously an overused word in the game, but I think we've shown that, some resilience, some character, and some lads playing really, really terrifically.
Derek McInnes, what about his team's character? Because they've had injuries as well. They've had ups and downs.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty consistent throughout. Obviously, as expectations rise, and we've been top of the league now for a while. People talk about mentality and how they cope. But I think the facts show we're coping brilliantly. For us we've already broke a club record in terms of points tally. A win tomorrow against Falkirk gets us to 80 points, and that's brilliant shooting. You know, in fact, we've got Champions League qualification already secured, but obviously we want to try and go one better now and win the league. And I believe, and I have believed for a while, that we've got a team that's capable of winning the league. You know, so just that unshakable belief in what we're doing. We have to overcome difficulties with injuries and the like, but every team has to deal with that. But I feel as though we take confidence. We're trying to hold off, and we have been trying to hold off a couple of heavyweights for a long time now. We've managed to see off Rangers at the minute, and we've got to try and see off Celtic over the next 2 games. But our first port of call is to try and see off Falkirk, and that's important for us, just to focus on that one.
Mark?
Yeah, you know, you listen to Derek, you're talking about Martin O'Neill being a winner, his experience. So you look at Derek, Paul, and you speak of managers with a body of work. You know, Derek's got 16, 17 years coaching and management experience, so he's 54.
Just a boy.
It'd be great for him to win a title, and you know, for a Scottish manager to go and win it, consider, you know, what he's done, what he's given the game, stepping down at Kilmarnock when they were in the Championship. You know, I think Aberdeen wanted him back a couple of times, and he
that
said
could have been a
no.
hospital pass. The Kilmarnock one, it didn't go well.
That's right, absolutely. But no, he believed in himself, and he got them up, and got them into Europe, didn't he?
Yep.
So when you look at that, and then get into Hearts, who were almost relegated last season, and then Bill's got a lot of credit's given to Tony Bloom, and I get that, but Derek has to go and manage that and build a squad. So I think Hearts will win tomorrow night, Paul. I don't think there's any doubt, and I say that with the greatest respect to Falkirk, but Falkirk went to Tynecastle, won in the Scottish Cup. Here's a scenario we've not discussed. If Hearts don't win tomorrow night and Celtic win, Celtic only need a draw on Saturday.
That's true. Yep.
We've not because rightfully everybody said the hardest game tomorrow night is for Celtic. Of course it is. But if Falkirk go and do what they did in the Scottish Cup and Celtic win, Hearts would need to come to Celtic Park and win to win the title. So there's a scenario. There's another one to throw into the pot.
You're on it tonight, aren't you? Twists and turns, Darren. What do you think of the two managers? They both sound really... They've been over the course, both of them in different ways. 20 years difference in age, but my goodness, Derek McInnes as well. You can sense what it would mean for his team, for his city, for Edinburgh, or half the city, to win this is absolutely monumental.
Oh yeah, it'd be huge. Yeah, touching on what Mark's saying, Derek McInnes obviously hasn't been the course as a manager in terms of winning the league, but the way he's handling it is of a manager that knows what he's doing. And obviously Mark's touching on it, that's because of the vast experience he's got. I think the way he's dealt with a number of things has been impressive. He's just kept a lid on everything every time. I even go back to, I remember commenting on it. It's really early in the season. The first game against Celtic, Hearts beat Celtic at Tynecastle. There was obviously celebrations because you celebrate every win, but there was a composure to it. And I think even then he knew they were onto something. He obviously could see Celtic and Rangers were in turmoil at the time. So he's handled everything up until this point fantastically well. As we've touched on, I expect him to go and do the business against Falkirk. Likewise, I expect Celtic to as well, and it's going to set it up. But I think both managers, you see what, when you start mentioning words like experience and been over the course, you can see it now. It comes out ultimately when they're under the most pressure. You see the composure of them, and both have been really impressive.
Team update. Let's hear first from Martin and Neil.
Yeah, we're okay in that aspect. The other lads are looking forward to the game. I think that Alistair Johnston's had hasn't completed a game yet, but he's done really fine.
Derek McInnes, obviously injuries a big part of the story at the weekend.
So both Martin and Craig got operated in London yesterday morning. Both Achilles ruptures and significant injuries, you say, both about 7 to 9 months probably. So we managed to set up a scan and an appointment with the expert down in London, and both lads flew down Sunday afternoon for their operation yesterday morning, early doors. So both are travelling back up. Mark will travel to Birmingham today, and Craig will come back to Glasgow with a physio. So terrible news. There was a wee bit of that's the kind of hangover a wee bit after the game as well. Two very important players for us, two really popular lads having to deal with a significant injury. But we've had to deal with that through a lot of the season, and any lads who've come in as replacements have never let us down, and we feel that's going to be the case this time around as well. We've got players who'll come in and do the job for us, and I've got an unshakable belief that we can do this, and I believe the squad feel that as well. So it's an extra wee bit of motivation for us if we needed any more, that two players who've played a big part have suffered really. It's unusual. I mean, Achilles injuries, I've never known anything like it, 2 in 1 game.
Two of them, of course, Mark Leonard. And it's such a blow, isn't it, with Halkett? What do you feel? You want to play for him, wouldn't you? Unshakable belief that we're going to win the league.
Yeah, fair play to him. He's early in the season, he put a kind of lid on it, rightly so, and now they're in touch and distance. He's absolutely putting his cards on the table. He thinks they can do it. And there's nothing to say they can't. They must have been at top of the league for a long time.
End of September.
Yeah. So,
apart from once, I think it was overnight, was it? The Rangers had overtaken them.
Over 30 weeks. Yeah. They've been in top of it. And like you said, it's a shame. You sounded quite emotional there for the two boys, but there's a great way to, if there is such a thing, to spin that into a positive. Go and do it for those two boys. Go and do it for those two boys. What a great, as your team top, go and do it for your two teammates. Go and make sure they get a championship, champions winners medals on Saturday afternoon.
Is that what happens, Darren? I could imagine that, because he's also talked up the others, because obviously they lost Shanklin for quite some time, Devlin as well, but the others stepped up.
Yeah, and as Mark's touching on, you use anything you can. So even when he's talking about that, he quickly reverts to no one's ever let us down when they've come into the team, because he's trying to. That is a massive blow. Like, it's a massive blow, but he's just putting a lid on everything and keeping everything calm. And using 2008, obviously Tommy Burns passed away. That was an enormous kind of, I suppose, responsibility nearly to do it for him. So this is clearly not quite the same case, but at the same point, as a manager, you find motivation from wherever you can.
Quick break, and then we're back.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
This time tomorrow night we'll be in the company of Kevin Cowell, the former Rangers, Hearts, Kilmarnock, Sunderland, Scotland. Who else? I'm sure he'll be here tomorrow night anyway. And Aidan McGeady, the former Celtic. Then he went to Moscow, didn't he, of course?
Spartak.
Yep, Spartak. And then he went to Everton,
Preston,
and of course Sunderland. Legend.
Charlton for a while.
Well done, yeah.
Hibs,
On loan,
Ayr
Hibs
United.
and Ayr United. So he'll be
And
here tomorrow.
Republic
Of course,
Island, 93
I've got 90.
caps.
Yep. Okay, well, good knowledge. And yeah, he'll be with us tomorrow evening. And you know him well, of course, playing alongside him at Celtic and also for Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah, we roomed together
All right,
at both
yeah.
Celtic and Ireland. So yeah, we know each other very well.
Indeed. Anything you want us to ask him about tomorrow night?
No.
Not particularly.
Tell me this. Do you think Aidan should be? I know he doesn't want to coach, but do you think he's got something to offer the game?
Yeah, and if I was Celtic, I would be bringing him in. He's the best, certainly in my eyes, the best ever academy player to come through at Celtic, the most talented, and then produced incredible kind of moments for the club, moved for crazy money. Like you can't replicate that. Like I look at from my own point of view, you educate yourself as a coach, and the reality is players relate to ex-players or what they see. Like you see it with managers going in, ex-players. Aidan will be able to hold, especially academy players. They'll look to him and listen to anything he says, especially the front ones. So he absolutely is loads to offer. It's just someone given the opportunity, and ultimately what Aidan wants to do himself.
And it's a dying art, isn't it? You know, Celtic and other teams.
Well, look at Tenetki, Aidan McGee with Tenetki. That's a match straight away. Tenetki needs someone on his shoulder explaining how to be more aggressive with the ball, because I do believe Tenetki has got talent to do it. So someone like that as an example, I could see a huge benefit of having Aidan around.
Why don't they make things like this happen? The obvious. I mean, listen, we can't answer it, but it's crying out for it. James Forrest can't go on forever. He doesn't start normally. Mark thinks he may start tomorrow night against Motherwell. And look at Rangers with Scott Olsen last week. Not that Aidan's going to go and coach. Well, maybe he will.
I hope he doesn't.
But you know what I mean? And there's Finlay Curtis doing that job for Kelly, and I know it's different, but his 2 goals at the weekend were a bit special. We'll come back to that shortly. Rangers fans are on, quite a few of you saying, I sense that people have liked Danny Rule, but they're not liking the fact of what's happening. The 3 games in a row hasn't happened since, well, is it 2000? Dick Advocaat. Yeah. Now, there was a Rangers manager who came from foreign lands and did brilliantly, absolutely. But Danny Rule spoke a little bit more today about the full board support.
All of them, yeah. Really, all of them. I think this is, at the minute, a great thing. There's not just one person around me, there are more person around me. Everyone supports me really well. And we are really honest to each other. This is not that we are lying or we make it better than it is. We know exactly the realities at the moment. 3 defeats in 3 important games where we couldn't deliver. And from this point, we have to go forward. Yeah, this is now the last 5-6 games, days. Like I said, it's important that we have a strong finish.
And Danny was asked, what about the fan criticism, especially this week?
This is not my job to measure this. I think everyone who knows me knows exactly how I handle the situations. I think that is a motivation to do it better, and find solutions. Football is football, and we are in a big club, and we are in a demanding club, and that's about winning games. And if you don't win games, then of course, like I said, I take the responsibility for this. I stay in front of my group. I'm the leader of the club in this case, and I reflect myself. But I'm also looking forward, and I'm really motivated for the future to make it better and to bring something back what we all want.
And how is he going to break this cycle? 3 defeats in a row?
From the club side, it's not my job to answer this question.
I think that's more specifically probably about the lack of trophies over the years.
From the club side, it's not my job to answer this question. But for me, and this is important, I'm very clear. When I took over, the situation was difficult. We made a lot of things right. We got good results. We had also some, and this is also part of the story we had in February, some draws too much, where we have to win. Then maybe we go with a different points in the split. And on the other side, we go now forward. And this is, I must really say, I'm so motivated. I have passion. Yeah, I put all the negative things away. And I must also say, I got not just criticized, I got also some feedback in the direction like, we stick to you and we want to see you in the new season as well here because we believe in you. And this shows me that not everything was wrong in the last 200 days.
No, he's not hiding.
No, one of the things jumped out there is it's up to me to come up with solutions. That's one thing I don't think he has come up with. Yeah. Often, in games, as well, in different ways in which he has managed. You said there, Paul, during it in terms of the overall success of the club. So if you look at it now, Paul, Rangers came back into the top flight in the summer of 2016. Matt Warburton brought them up 10 years. They've won 3 trophies out of 30. And you can't tell me that the expectation's not been there to do it, because, and Matt Warburton highlighted it when he was the manager, Rangers opening day of the new season in 2016-17 when Brendan Rodgers went to Celtic, Rangers had the tifos out around the stadium going for 55. And they'd just come up, and Matt Warburton didn't know anything about it and was absolutely raging that within the club they were putting that pressure, and it was unrealistic. Now, had they done it, of course, it would have been a miracle in football terms, but you had to kind of, ever so slightly dampen the expectation. So there's your answer. 3 trophies out of 30. So it's not just about Danny Rowe, it's about the whole football club. The new owners are in. What you can't fault them for is how they've backed managers financially, but you can fault their decision making, and they need to get better at it at the top of the club.
Let's go back on the line. Somebody who's enjoyed most of this period. Laurie, a long-term Celtic fan, is on. Good evening, Laurie.
Well, good evening, Paul. Good evening, panel.
Hi, Laurie.
Guys, as you know, Paul, I have long since been an advocate of the Blessed Martin and his 2 appointments this season. I've never had any doubt whatsoever that he will lead us to a title. And I think tomorrow night, historically, is an opportunity for him to exercise the ghost of Motherwell on Helicopter Sunday, when we were defeated by the Steelmen, and Rangers, of course, beat Hibernian that day to win the league. Tomorrow night, I think, is a perfect opportunity for Martin to exercise that ghost. I also think that I've been on the programme before, and I've spoken and told you and the panellists that I felt that the Rangers manager, Danny Rowe, has exceeded expectations since the much disastrous appointment of Russell Martin. However, he came short, and where he came short for him, sadly, is that, like Philip Clement, who couldn't get the better of Brendan Rodgers, Danny Rowe has got a conundrum and a Rubicon in Martin in the Blessed Martin, and that we've played them 4 times now competitively. Martin has been responsible for jettisoning Rangers from both the cup competitions, the League Cup and the Scottish Cup. We managed to get a draw when all the odds were stacked against us in the league game at Ibrox, and we beat them there comprehensively on Sunday. I would think that will spell the death knell for Danny Rowe. I've every confidence we'll win tomorrow night at Fir Park, and we will beat Hearts at Celtic Park at the weekend there. And also, that will be, ominously for any Hearts supporters listening tonight, a very eerie 40th anniversary for them when we last kiboshed them and their title hopes. The panel's thoughts.
Okay, James, we'll clip that up just in case it doesn't happen, in which case, Laurie, it's going to be your fault. We'll play that after the game on Saturday. And we want to ask you a question, so think about this as well. What would you do if you were Dermot Desmond? What's going to happen for next season in the manager's dugout? Darren, what would you say about the ghost of 2005 and what Martin O'Neill has achieved?
I don't think that will be in his mind, but at the same point, do I think Celtic will win at Fir Park? Yes, I do. So it will bring it to the last game of the season, and I fully expect Celtic to get the job over the line. Yeah, so I just think after the Rangers game, I keep saying it's now back in Celtic hands, and you can't let it go now. They can't. You can't have had the struggle they've had all season to get to this point and then not get it over the line. So I really, really fancy them strongly.
To be fair, Laura, I remember Darren in the studio on, let's say, after the Dundee United defeat, and when people were saying, "Wow, it's swinging Hearts," and Rangers were coming good, and you said you had a kind of the determination that Martin O'Neill you can't count out Celtic.
Well, when you've felt the pressure these players will be under, experience counts, and you hear a lot of phrases used of that. What is experience? How do you put that into kind of context? How do you make it count? The reality is you're seeing it now. You're seeing it with the managers and you're seeing it with the players. And it's no coincidence, as much as I've been critical of some of the players that at Celtic that haven't performed to a high enough a level, you're seeing big players come in the big moments, big managers come in the big moments, and they get things done. Celtic have plenty of them, and they're coming to the fore right at the right time.
Mark, what would you say to Laurie?
In terms of Martin O'Neill, 21 years ago in 2005, I think it probably still haunts him to this day. But the ghost would only be exercised if you complete the job and you win the title. And it would be because he left in 2005 for Geraldine's health issues. Won the Scottish Cup the week after. But for him to come back, if he does win the title, given the circumstances of this season, I think there's no doubt it would be the most satisfying and most. But of course, he won a treble in 2001, had to overhaul a very, very dominant Rangers team and build a Celtic team in the process. But this one, I think, given everything, this would be the most special. I would imagine. Only he can answer that, and I don't think he'll answer it until if he does do it. But I think all players see the kind of best success is the most recent one, and given how they've been chasing, and if they do overcome a very, very good Hearts team, and a very good manager, it would be an incredible campaign for Martin O'Neill.
Because younger Rangers fans won't remember, there was such joy among the Rangers supporters. They didn't expect it to happen, and the Celtic fans were absolutely gutted. I mean, it was the start of the summer, it was May, and the rest of the summer, that was the talking point among Celtic fans. They could not believe, because after the win with Rangers in April, wasn't it? And then they thought, but that's it. And it wasn't to be in the last day. Laurie, what's going to happen for next season for Celtic? What would you do? What do you think Celtic will do?
Thanks for asking me the question, Paul. Here's my thoughts. Firstly, ageism. A lot of Celtic supporters, no less, have questioned that Martin O'Neill should be offered another year at the age of 74. My answer to that is twofold. Number one, and I've said this before in the programme, Paul, and it's worth repeating, the little General Dick Advocaat is taking Curacao to the World Cup finals in the summer in North America. He's 78 years of age. The other thing I would say about those who are questioning Martin's age and his appetite, the leaders of the two most powerful countries in the world, no less, Vladimir Putin and Donald J. Trump, are older than Martin O'Neill. So I would suggest to anyone that's listening to this programme, and any sceptics or cynics, that if managing Celtic at 74 years of age, that for me is not problematic. It is no more a daunting task managing a football team than it is managing the two most powerful countries in the world. That's my thoughts, Paul.
Laurie, I don't want to burst your bubble because brilliant, but Dick Advocaat, just to put you right, is not going to the World Cup, but that's due to family reasons rather than age, so I totally take your point.
And he's still back.
Well, he's led them to the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. No, your point is absolutely right.
Listen, I know the elections happened. I would vote for Laurie on that one as somebody who now gets these, I'm approaching a certain age and people are beginning to say, do you know what? If you've got great people around you, then experience and the motivation, if you want to do it, age is a number. That's the truth. Yeah. The day you don't want to do it, he won't do it. But see if he's got that fire in his belly, which I think he has, then why wouldn't you do it? I'm taken by what Mark said. Because Mark I thought last year when you said, Mark, give Barry Ferguson the job immediately. There's a lot of snobbery around. Barry Ferguson is one of the all-time great Rangers players. But somehow in the management, people were, the media as well, everyone was like, oh, Barry, Rangers, really? What are you looking for? He knows the Scottish game. Look what he did against Mourinho. Look what he did against Brendan Rodgers. He came to your ground just over a year ago and they won. The game counted. Look, I know Celtic were heading for the title, but you didn't expect to be 2 down, back to 2-2. And he found a way of beating Celtic. So I think ageism is a big thing. And you're absolutely right. The leader of the free world, God help us, is, I need my Esther still. I better be careful. I want to go to the World Cup. But you're right. I mean, he's deep into his 70s. And then Vladimir Putin. You're not suggesting Vladimir Putin's the new Celtic manager, are you? No, if somebody clips that one up. But do you know what I mean? I think Laurie's making a great point. Get young people around you.
And the ability to delegate.
Yes, yeah.
And as long as your staff believe in you. And I said that, Paul, half an hour ago. If Martin, why would you not offer him it if he wins the league? And it would only come down to 8, unless he doesn't want it. Because like I said, if you won the title, would Danny Rowe be getting asked to go? or Derek Kinnis would get
it.
No. So why would you do it to Martin O'Neill? It would only be because of his age. So therefore, you need to leave that decision down to him. Do you feel mentally and physically able to do this for another year? And if you do, it's yours.
And
but
Celtic,
I just want to know,
sure,
Laurie, where would you be standing? Cantine or Denison? What's your constituency?
I'll maybe contest Keir Starmer's seat.
Well, exactly. It could well be. Well, that's Bernard Ponsonby's. He's on fire at the moment, isn't he? He took on Douglas Ross on the BBC the other day. It was absolutely brilliant. But you're right.
They had him in toast.
They had him in tow. He did. He's some man. I'd get him as your director of communications at Celtic. I'll tell you what, be disruptors, Celtic. Come out. Because Rangers are coming. I mean, I know Celtic fans might say, Rangers, they will. There's money in there with the 49ers. They can't keep getting it wrong. They will get it right. And at Celtic, there's a silence. And Dermot Desmond he did put a lot of money into the club. That's a while ago. What's his ambition for it? And I think Celtic fans are desperate to know. And Martin O'Neill deserves the respect of the plan. Now, maybe they have discussed the plan. Maybe the two Irishmen have spoken to each other. But I think it's time now that Celtic said, because I take your point, whether or not they win, it's big if Celtic win it. But the bigger question is surely for next season, what's the plan? Because Rangers there'll be announcements very soon about what they're doing in terms of signings, and Tony Bloom at Hearts. So, Laurie, that's a great call tonight. We had the Rubicon. I didn't know we'd be crossing the Rubicon tonight. But and speaking up there, age is just a number.
Yeah.
And Darren, I know you're in your 30s.
Well, you can look at it. Football's actually changed from the point of view of, is it Hurtsla at Brighton? Was he
33, 34?
So it's actually gone both ways.
That's
and
right.
now you're seeing Martin come back. Yeah, I totally agree. If you're good enough for the job and you've got the energy for it, there shouldn't be a question mark of what age you are.
Laurie, thank you so much for your call.
Good night, guys.
See you later.
Good night. And if Hearts win the title, you're first up in the next call.
You can run
next
Charlie
Monday.
O'Grew through to Tynecastle.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, because people would have to be kind to you. Of course they would, because he's got a 7 there. Just a 7 at the start of his age. Thank you, Laurie. Quick break and then we're back.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Thank you for making the switch, and some of it is to us, and many of you. Thank you so much. There's an insatiable appetite to talk football, and a lot of good chat tonight there. The last one from Laurie. Rangers fans are on as well. I think they can't believe it. It's kind of like Groundhog Day, Mark, that yet again there's a debate about what's going to happen. You hear Danny Roll there, and he said, I'm so motivated. I'm up for it for next season. There's plans underway. You know, we're hearing as well that you know, there will be... Rangers will spend money again this summer, won't they? Will they?
Well, I do think there comes a point where they need to kind of finance a lot of it themselves. So what Andrew Kavanagh's done since he's come in is basically he's bankrolled it. But I think now, you know, whether it be a Raskin or a Chamiti or a Fernandez or maybe a couple of them, I think they'll need to kind of finance the spend, the rebuild. You know, Tavernier's going. Yeah. There's 6 or 7 big earners, Paul, on loan. You know, Max Aaron's not heard in months. You know, Scove Olsen, Mikey Moore, Giga, Magoma. You know, so there's a number of players on loan. So there's a big job required there as well. But I mean, if you look at Celtic, what they've spent, you know, and there again, I was thinking when watching Engels on Sunday how terrific he was, and yet Brendan Rodgers was absolutely leathered for buying Engels. And look at him; they'll make a tidy profit in him. I think they'll sell him this summer, and they'll make a tidy profit. But Celtic always financed their own spend. You know, so they sold O'Reilly, spent the money. They sold Kuhn and Ida to finance the spend. So that's what we do it. And I think Rangers will need to go, because you can't just keep spending, Paul. You actually need to create your own money as well.
On Rangers, 2 names: James Penrice, who I think was in the sights of Barry Ferguson this time last year. You think he could do a job for Rangers? He's been at Athens recently.
Well, I can't say I've watched him recently, but certainly a very good player. I think we touched on it earlier in the show. It's not for me to tell Rangers what they need, but I personally see it, and I'll be saying the same thing to Celtic. They need players. I don't want to say of Scottish origin, but probably of that understand the club. These 2 clubs up here they're monsters, and there is a lot of baggage that come with it. There's the adulation and the privilege of playing for them. But there is a lot of baggage. I've seen it under Tony Mowbray when under Tony Mowbray's regime, when there was a lot of loan players. It doesn't work at clubs like this. There's just too much you have to invest in, and Rangers, in my opinion, don't have players in their building that really understand it. Okay,
can I give you a name who does understand it? And would he come to Rangers? Lewis Ferguson. So it came up last night with Barry. We threw it to him, Mark, and he was, I just got the impression. No, you don't think it? Because of the money?
Financially, Paul. Okay. I would imagine it'd be very, very much out of their reach. I don't know, but you know, Bologna would want a tidy fee. He's a captain, he's an asset. He's tailed off this season in terms of the managerial changes, but it was only a year ago he was getting linked with Juventus at 25 million quid. You know, so you know you're talking about, you know, the financial rules and having to create your own money. For me, Lewis Ferguson, and probably to be honest, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I think he's better than Scottish football. I'd like to go and see him, whether it's another Italian team or down the road or La Liga, you know, whatever it may be. But I'd be very surprised if it's Rangers.
Yeah, the old lady wanted him, didn't they, last season? You know, before the injury, Juve was speculated. Right, tonight there's going to be, I would imagine, a big crowd tonight. Rangers against Hibs for tomorrow night, of course. For tonight, we've got Kilmarnock against Dundee, Dundee United against Livy, Aberdeen against St Mirren. We didn't mention, Mark, do you think St Mirren can win tonight?
No, I think it'll be a draw. Pittodrie and Kilmarnock will beat Dundee, so St Mirren in the playoff spot, Paul.
Okay. Darren, what do you feel in tonight's games?
I think I'll just say 3 home wins. 3
home wins, right. So the Dons, United, the Arabs, and Killie against Dundee. What about James Tavernier? Tomorrow night will be his final game at Ibrox. Here's his manager.
Yeah, important is, and hopefully even in the situation, it's not the easiest one. We can create for him a great goodbye. I think he deserved it. He did a lot of things for the club, long time here for our club. He loves the club and he made the decision finally. I really respect him, and I think it's important that he gets tomorrow a good buy from all of us.
Probably wasn't a new contract for him, but maybe it is time to go for him. And he came so close to winning a European trophy 4 years ago.
Yeah, Rangers came within a penalty kick. Beating Eintracht Frankfurt in Seville. I really felt for James Tavernier on Sunday, Paul. He's been a whipping boy. He's been, just mentioned there 10 minutes ago, 3 trophies out of 30, and he seems to carry the can for a lot of it, which is absolutely ridiculous. He's been a fantastic servant to Rangers. I felt for him being subbed. Well, the Celtic fans could have mocked him. I understand that. That's they've got nothing to. They don't owe James Tavernier anything. But when I think, he's always been respectful. You can question his captaincy or whatever, but he's been terrific for Rangers. He scored a lot of penalties. We still need to put the ball in the net. As I say, he's always been respectful. I think it is time for him to go, but I did feel for him on Sunday. And again, I know Danny Rowe's got to do what he thinks to try and salvage the game, but taking his captain off like that, and he should know that. You know what? I just thought I really felt for, as a human being, I really felt for James Tavernier on Sunday.
Do you think he'll go out with a win tomorrow night, just briefly?
I think it'll be a draw at Ibrox.
Darren, you agree? Yeah. Hearts against Falkirk, you've both said you expect Hearts to win.
Yes.
And what a season for them that would be for the Hearts. Their 24th win of the season. For Celtic, they're at Motherwell. Here's Martin O'Neill.
It was a difficult day, yeah.
And that was the last time. What it would mean to him to win tomorrow night?
When Sean, Mark and myself got together both spells, I think we will have played 23 league games. That's difficult to win in a 38-game season, So that would be, if we could do it, and we are seriously light years away from that. I mean, you might say it's 2 games. We're light years away from that. We could then, and then you'd have to maybe put things into context then after that. But, that's for another day, and it might not even be for any day.
And he was asked what's clicked in recent times.
Yeah, we've got some players are playing really in really good form, which is the most important thing. I think there's a good connection with the team now and the fans. I think that's been an important issue. I think Celtic Park on Sunday was just was kind of reminiscent of my old days anyway, and that's been great. But we've gone away from home. We've won some big matches as well too. So I think just a combination of all of those things gives us a chance anyway.
Darren, 1 minute left. What's the team talk tomorrow night from Martin O'Neill?
I don't think he needs to do it. Genuinely don't think he needs to do it. They'll just roll into the game off the back of the weekend, and I expect them to take care of business.
Scoreline, what do you feel? I heard Laurie think.
I don't think as I said, I don't think the scoreline will be vast, but I expect Celtic to go and do it. So by at least, they'll certainly win.
Mark, what do you feel?
2-1 Celtic. Nervy 2-1 Celtic.
Thanks so much. It's been a quick 2 hours. There's more. And
Dunfermline,
Partick Thistles tonight, I should ask you. Remember the game's 7:45 East End Park.
1-1.
1-1.
I'll go Dunfermline win. But I think Partick Thistle might do it.
Sure, of course. And, they've got Partick Thistle not played for a couple of weeks, but you could look at it either way. Remember, tomorrow night, Aidan McGeady and Kevin Kyle will be here. And then there's a live audience with us in this very studio in the heart of Glasgow on Thursday night. Thank you so much for all your calls and all your messages. And we'll be back tomorrow night at 5.